Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another installment of Scott's Selections here for Sunday, December 1st. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We ended up picking up a winner with UAB on the first half at -1.5, as they were able to get themselves a 3-point lead before the end of the first half. Definitely a huge sweat in that game. UAB took the lead, gave up the lead, ended up scoring a touchdown with about 30-something seconds left in the half, and we were able to get a nice victory. Other than that, though, my Saturday night ended up pretty brutal as I ended up losing in my college football fantasy championship because of an Eno Benjamin handoff in garbage time with about a minute to go. The game was over. There's about 2.5 minutes to go, no timeouts. And Edwards just decided to just give it to his running back one more time after he gave himself up on the previous play. I lost by 0.8, and that's how I lost. I was 11-1, and I ended up losing in the championship game, which is unfortunate. But other than that, though, in terms of the play of the day, I know that this video is coming out pretty late, but for the play of the day, we'll be on a basketball matchup between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Washington Wizards. And we actually like the Los Angeles Clippers here, -12, which is available on DraftKings at -110. Just summarizing both teams so far this season, the Clippers are 14-6. However, they're 11-1 at home. They've been really good at the Staples Center. And the Wizards have been awful on the road. They're 3-7 on the road, 6-11 overall. They did just play their last game in the Staples Center against the Lakers, so traveling should not be an issue for them. But they did lose that game by 23 points, or 22 points, I should say. The Wizards just are not a good basketball team at all. This team is awful defensively. The Wizards are giving up 121.1 points per game, which is one of the worst totals in the league. The Clippers, I know that there's been some issues with betting on them in terms of load management and how the Clippers have decided to rest people on random occasions, and that's a little bit annoying to handicap. But so far, according to reports, Kawhi and Paul George will both be playing in this game, and it doesn't seem like there's any injuries to talk about whatsoever. For the Wizards, though, Wagner is going to be out, which is a big loss to their bench, as Wagner's currently averaging 12 points and 5.6 rebounds, and he has been a pretty solid big man to come off the bench for the Wizards rotation. He's not available, but I still think the Clippers are going to smack this team. The Clippers did lose to the Spurs in their last game on the road, but they just played 3 road games. They're finally returning home, and they're against an awful Wizards team. I think the Clippers will take care of business. I think they will win this game by... They could easily win this game by 20, honestly, if Kawhi and Paul George end up playing, which I think they will. And I think that, simply put, the Wizards are just an awful defensive team, and the Clippers are really good offensively. And the Clippers can put the clamps down with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. This game should be a little bit faster paced because of the way the Wizards play offense. But at the end of the day, I think the Wizards are just going to give up too many points in transition. And I think the Clippers, with their bench unit as well of Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell, I think will be too much for Washington to handle. I think Harrell should have a big game now that Wagner is not available, as the backup big men should not be able to cover Harrell at all. I think Harrell can go for 20 and 10 off the bench. Lou Williams is an absolute just pest to deal with defensively, and I think the Clippers should win this game pretty handily. So the play of the day will be on the Los Angeles Clippers -12, which is available on DraftKings at -110. Other than that, though, looking at the rest of today's betting card, and I know a decent amount of football games have already concluded, or pretty much all of them are already underway. For the Patriots and Texans game is a little bit tricky. Patriots are currently been bet down from 4.5 to 3, mostly due to injuries or sickness, as New England actually had to fly a second plane to Houston just to handle all the sick players. So there's some type of flu bug going around with New England, and I question just how healthy this team actually is if you actually had to send a second plane in order to get all the players there in the first place. This game's a must-win game for Houston. Titans won, so the Colts are not breathing down their neck, but I still think the Titans are going to win the division. I don't like Houston at all. I think Bill O'Brien's a bad coach. Belichick's record against former assistants is fantastic. And I think New England playing in a dome after a terrible offensive showing against the Cowboys last week, I think they will look better. Brady has lost a step, but I definitely think the weather in Foxborough has definitely helped to make his stats look worse than they actually are. But I think Brady should play well. Houston's defense is terrible. And I think if I had to lean anyway, I would take New England -3. I think this game will be close. Money's come in on the over from 44.5 to 47, give or take. So I think there will be some points here. but I will lean to New England as I just think they're a better team than the Texans. I know Watson's great, and I know Hopkins is great, but Gilmore's going to be on Hopkins, and I think that'll be a pretty even matchup. And overall, Watson's an unbelievable quarterback, but New England's defense and their pass rush is also really good. And New England's weakness is running the ball, and Houston, with Carlos Hyde, doesn't typically run the ball that much. So I think that could be a potential issue for Houston in terms of the game planning. I think they will need to run the ball more than they want to. New England, I think they might just pick apart Houston with a bunch of dump-off passes. I expect Edelman to play well. I think James White will have a nice bounce-back performance, but I will take New England here as I think they should get the job done at -3, and that's just my thoughts on that. Now, looking at some college basketball going on later today, what do I like? I don't really see much, to be honest. Most of the games already happened. I had a personal thing on Maryland -3. They smacked Marquette. Marcus Howard was awful after scoring 50-something points the other day. Do I see it? I don't really see anything, to be honest, but if I had to give out one lean, it would actually be on the Arizona Wake Forest over. I know money's come in from 151.5 to 148, but I think this total's too low. Arizona's offense is still really good. They struggled defensively against Pepperdine. Wake Forest's offense has been pretty good as well. I think both teams should get into the mid-70s, potentially to the 80s, and I think this game will be pretty high scoring. So I'll actually lean to the over in that Arizona game, as I think that game will have more points than people will anticipate. Other than that, though, play of the day is going to be on the Clippers, -12, which is available on DraftKings at -110. Other than that, though, that's going to be the installment of Scott's Selections here for Sunday, December 1st. Good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.